and welcome to another episode of Unboxing Women, where we explore the gender gap in the music and entertainment industry. If you're active in the music business, an independent artist, a musician, or are just curious about how it all works, then this pod is for you. My name is Micah Rose, and with me is my friend Dana Rex, and we are both independent recording artists based in Europe. After having been called a bitch for knowing what we want, we were fed up and decided to be such a bitch and reveal what really goes on behind the scenes. You can listen to us on your favourite podcast platform and our YouTube channel. Today, we are in season 6.
We are starting season 6.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Honestly, I cannot believe we made it this far.
No. We said that at season 5 as well, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's season 6. We've been doing this for 4 years?
Yeah.
This is our 4th year, which is crazy, and we love it very much, and that's why we are back for another season.
Exactly. Today's topic actually really interesting. So we are theming this season a little bit.
Yes.
So we are talking more about a little bit of how-tos. So if you are an independent artist just starting out and need a couple of tips, we have been around the bush a couple of times, so we know some things.
Yes.
But also
we've also tripped and fallen in the bush.
Yes, well,
So we can explain. We can say what you don't need to do.
Precisely, yes. We can spare you a little bit of pain. So so today we're talking about how to prep a release.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I actually learned a lot from Dana when I prepped my first release. So I'm not sure how different our techniques are going to be, but it's going to be interesting to see. So.
Yes, that's true. Well, why don't you start off with how, if you were to release a song now, how would you prep?
I think I would start off with actually having more than one song. So previously I would be like, okay, well, I have one song, I'm going to prep it, I'm going to release it. Obviously with my debut EP I had 4 and that was actually really good, but again I don't know, I think having one and then having the pressure to like immediately write another one and have that one perform well as well, because you're like, this is the song I have, I feel like it adds so much pressure to the creative process, and it's so much more of a secure feeling to have some backup songs that you will then bring out. Obviously, if you write something that's close to your heart right now and you want to bring that one out earlier, that's like pushing that one up the line, that's fine. But my first thing would be have several songs that you will release over a period of time. And they don't have to be in an album or an EP. Sorry, I said album. Yeah. They don't have to be in that format, but it does relieve an immense amount of pressure, I feel.
It does. Yeah, I would definitely agree to have a couple of songs ready, because once that you release one, if everything goes to plan and if it goes well, which we hope for everybody, then, well, what do you do? After a couple of weeks, you're like, okay, now I have to start all over again. And it might take a while, depending on, your team and who you're working with, or if you're doing it all alone as well, that also can take a lot of time. Working with people can take a lot of time. Working alone can take a lot of time. In general, the music takes a lot of time. Having a couple to release is really good, and also prepping them back to back. You can always wait a little longer to release, but if you don't have something, if you go viral, then
nowadays
you need to have something
to back
there.
it up. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So
that's definitely something that I would highly recommend. And also going forward, because mostly the first time you release, indeed, you've written a couple of songs, you have a couple of good ones, you work on them, you're working them out, you have them produced, and you have this bunch of songs, and then you release them bit by bit, and then finally the EP comes out or something like that, and then
You've
You don't
nothing.
have anything.
Yeah. So that's, I think, the first thing I would say is, or that I've learnt really, is that you need a couple of things on the backhand, basically.
Yeah.
And after that, oof.
Keep writing. Keep
Keep
writing,
writing,
because,
yes.
oh God, you need them all the time. You need
Yeah.
more songs all the time.
Yeah.
The pressure is on because you have this song and you like the concept. The concept is great. You're like, oh my God, this is a great song. But again, it's very subjective. And you're gonna write the song to release it. It puts on a lot of pressure for it to be absolutely perfect. As good as a song is, and as much as you're in love with it when you're doing all this,
Yeah.
I think the flip side of that, if I had the choice between 10 or 20 songs, would I maybe have written a better one than this one? Or, so it's always great to keep writing so that you can pick and choose and also get the bad songs out of your system. People also doing courses online and stuff like that are saying, oh yeah, write your 100 songs first before you do anything.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's true.
Yeah. This shouldn't, to you, listener, be discouraging to just go out there and start. Obviously, if you want to get your music out, do it. Get it out. Because I feel like a lot of us as creatives see everything as a hurdle and everything as I can't do this unless I have that.
Oh, there's a lot of that going
exactly.
around. Yeah.
There's so much of that. So if you feel like, I just need to get these songs out, I want to get these songs out, I want to start performing, I want to, do it. If that's the way it works for you, completely do it. But like in the process of having had something out and then having the time frame where you need to be writing new things, and even in this case then not having that backup, you will notice that can be difficult. I'm not saying it's not doable, because it's absolutely doable. It's just, if I had the chance to go back, I would have probably held off a little bit longer to just have a couple of more songs to be able to then continue the momentum, because that's what we all want to do as independent artists. We really want to continue the momentum, and you need to, because that's what social media platforms live off of.
Yeah.
Right? They live off of consistency. And if you don't have like stuff, for me, I always feel like, well, that's probably for different episodes for creative burnout, but you kind of feel the pressure to continue, and then you feel like, oh, well, I've got nothing new to show, so what am I doing? And so it's a deep hole you can fall into. So just be aware of the pitfalls. But apart from that, the first step, what would you do, Donna?
Well, what I have learned, if you're doing this alone as an independent artist, be aware of this. Or you do it alone and you have to put in the time, and the time is your payment. That's what you are paying, and you are putting in the time yourself. That's your investment. If you're not going to do it yourself, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay an expert for it to do it for you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find that expert as well, vet them, make sure that they will do their job, and
which is one of the most
difficult, daunting things.
Yeah.
If you don't know anybody else, or you have to see if they had clients before, maybe get in contact with them, ask references. Don't be afraid to ask references. If somebody is like, oh no, I can't, give you anybody that you can call or whatever, that's already a red flag.
Don't go with those people.
Exactly.
Yeah. There are also people who are obviously very professional and do their jobs well. And there are some that will even tell you that what they are doing, what they usually do, is not going to help you that much.
That's true.
Right? And that they can do some things, but it won't be as efficient as it would have been if you had, say, a bigger following already, or different media available, etc. So listen to those people, because you will be sending money down the drain, right? It might bring you some small things, but it won't be the right place. So maybe just ask them, where would you start? you know, and what would you say? And do you know anybody? Do you have a reference you could send me on to? So that I find is also very important, to then not just be like, oh no, but I know, well, sometimes you know what you're doing, obviously. If you really think you know what you're doing, do it. But I feel like if these industry professionals are then telling you to that this is not the right fit, then just listen to them and try it their way.
Yeah, if it's not the right time, it's not the right time.
Especially if they don't actually want to take your money in that case.
Yeah. And you might regret it if you're like, no, still, I really want this, you know, you're 50-50. Well, no, more chance that you will regret it because you can't miss any steps. There are no shortcuts.
No.
That's the thing.
There are none.
Yeah, you have to go through the steps as they are. Because if you think you're finding this one hack or this one thing, or, you know, there's this trick, there is none. There is not a trick. There is no hack. You have to go through the steps. And the steps are, you have to build a fan base. You don't necessarily need to release music for that. You do have to have material to show said fan base. But you need to grow a fan base first before you can... for example, go and get booked and do live shows. Nobody's going to book you if there's nobody who's going to come to see the gig. If you can't sell X amount of tickets, they won't be interested in working with you. So if, I'm just saying, also spare your own time. Let me just give a simple example. Like, if you've released one song, even if it goes viral, the next step is not start calling all the bookers. Because you only have the one song. They're not going to book you for one song. You need at least X amount of songs to be able to do your show. You need a show.
Oh, yeah.
So you might need musicians and stuff that you're working with if you're alone, you know, if you're not with a band of friends, then... Yeah, you'll need to work on all of those things before you can start saying, hey, you know, we need to be on your booking agency. You're wasting your time with that in that moment. The best thing to do in that moment is build on your one release. So release a second one. Work more on your socials. You know, get more meat on the bone in that regard. Or reach out to music professionals, go to music conferences and expand your network, because it's not only about the fan base on the socials, etc. It's also who you know inside the industry, and that one is also a lot of times forgotten, that the music industry, even more than other industries where networking is like a legit thing, like, okay, you know, you meet the CEOs of all the companies if you're a CEO, or you meet the HR managers of all the companies if you're an HR manager. You go to these specific industry events in your niche. Well, that's what you also do in music. You can't only do it from your room. You have to go, you have to meet people, network, get to know them, not to get something from them. But just as friends, you know, you have some drinks with them or lunch, or, you know, sit next to them at a panel.
Yeah, because you find you actually have something in common with them anyway, so...
Be interested and also on your level. So not only like, you know, oh, I need to get to know all the music managers. No, also get to know your peers and musicians or artists or I don't know, anybody who is on the same level as you. Get to know them, become friends, and you can achieve things together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's people that you can call. You can say, oh, you know, oh, I know this artist and she's worked with, you know, she has a producer and she has this and that. And then you can call said person and say, okay, can you connect me? And then you're off. And, you know, there's other stuff to explore.
Yeah.
So that is really something that is still to this day underestimated, especially in the music business.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it sounds like, oh, okay, how to prep a release. You have a song, you do marketing, you do more marketing, you do even more marketing, and then you release it.
The marketing.
And then you do even more marketing. That's kind of what you were probably expecting as well from this episode, but it's just not, there's so much that comes before it. I feel a lot of artists build their community automatically throughout years of just keeping at it, right? But that's something that a lot of newcomers just don't see. A lot of people
Yes.
who start out and are like, oh, I want to get I want to do concerts. I want to get on stage. I want to kind of do release my music. I want to have a manager. I want to go on tour, etc. That's not the first step. It never is. That's the end goal.
Yeah.
But it's not the first step. The first step is honestly build a community and people who will listen to your music and who will come.
And I think also that the part where the in real life has, with COVID, we've started doing a lot more online. And there's this, I think, misconception out there that you can do everything online. You're on the socials, you're making your music, you can do that in a home studio now, or even work remotely with producers. You don't have to really go anywhere anymore. You can just stay behind your computer, so to speak. But what I've experienced is, even with COVID really boosting that side of technology and our will to work remotely, I think we underestimate the personal connection that you create with people when you see them in real life.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, and that's something that I experienced when I went on tour. After COVID, I went on tour with Anastasia. I opened for her, and it was over 13 days. We did 8 cities in Europe. And just the connection that I got with these people who were not there for me. They were there for Anastasia. It's the first time ever they saw me, or the first time ever that they heard my songs. And still, the connection that we made was so much stronger than anything that I could have done during COVID, and any Zoom or virtual stage or anything that I did, or even go to music conferences virtually and have like these carousels where you would speak with an industry professional or a musician or an artist for 5 minutes. And there's none of the people that I met virtually I still speak with. I only speak with people that I actually met in real life.
Yeah.
And also all the people that started following me after seeing me in real life on stage, they are to this day all still fans. They're still listening to my music, while a lot of the people where you kind of met online and like, they kind of come and then they go again, and it's with the people that I've actually met that the connection is the deepest. Be careful with that. Don't isolate yourself completely, because it's really valuable to see people in real life.
Also don't expect to fill a concert place, like a concert hall, having just done virtual stuff, right? You're not going to fill as many seats as you think you are.
You'd be surprised.
Wrapping that all up, if you then have communities, let's say you have a community, you have a fan base, you have songs on the back end, and you want to release the ones that you are most passionate about right now, or that maybe have generated some buzz already. How would we go about doing that?
If you're doing it yourself, and we've also touched upon this in previous episodes, you will need to do marketing. You will need to put a lot of time in this if you're doing it yourself. And you will need to explore other things as well, like maybe playlisting, but the legit playlisting. Yes. So also that is vetting who you're going to work with, because they need to have been doing this for years and have created a community of playlisters, really, connections, network. It's all network again, where, they can legit place your music and say, hey, look, I have this artist, this is the music, it should fit in your playlist because your playlist is pop or your playlist is rock or, and this is from that genre. Can you have a listen? And see if you want to add it. If you don't have that connection already, then you're like cold emailing people with playlists, and then you never know what you're going to get. Some people still ask money to place you, and that's not allowed.
It's illegal,
Spotify or Apple Music, they don't allow that. So if they also do this, they have people reach out to playlisters to see what the reaction will be if you're like, oh, I have a song. And if they get an email back like, okay, yes, pay us, then that playlist does get shut down.
Yeah.
So they do their own tests. Be careful not to end up on one of those, because once it's taken down and you're on a bunch of those, then it's a little bit of a red flag, like, oh, this person is only on paid playlists.
Spotify notices if you're on playlists that have nothing to do with your genre.
Yeah.
So they will actually not play those and not suggest those to a lot of people. So you might be getting a lot of plays, but it's really randomized with other songs. So
Yeah.
you will not be reaching the listeners you want to be reaching.
Not on
Another
the
thing
others.
is, in regards to how we start out, is if you are reaching out to people, we have found that it is better to reach out under an alias. So
Yeah.
pretending to be a manager or
a man.
or a man, yes. Actually, that one works best. So pretending
Yes.
to be a man works
man manager.
best. You get the most answers, actually. So yeah, that's
It's very sad. It's very sad, but it's true.
yes, it's sad, but it's true. And we girls need to use whatever we can to
Yes.
get through in this industry. So don't be afraid to actually do that.
If you're not going to reach out to a professional, then, well, there's a lot of avenues. Blogs, maybe that's a thing of the past now. Not sure.
Depends on your music genre, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
depends. I think if you have a very niche thing, that it could actually be a good thing. If you're like in rock or rap
Yeah.
or
If you're like in feminist music, you can reach out
also.
just to feminist blogs as well.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
So stuff like that, any kind of niche thing that you can link yourself to, legitly. Okay. Legitly is good, because then you can target very well. Just pop, it's very broad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in that realm
yeah.
already. So anything that's specific to you could be, for example, I do a lot of dystopian things in my videos. So I have reached out to some dystopian blogs in the past who didn't do music like music reviews at all, but did urban exploring. And because it was in one of my videos, they actually did a little bit of an article on one of my videos and talked a bit about the location as well in the video. So you see, it's a link that's there. And what I did was I basically took an Excel sheet and I searched the internet for like a month, because I overdo everything and I overthink everything, and I wanted...
She's very thorough.
Yes, I'm very thorough. So I wrote down, I copy pasted all the links of all the blogs that I thought were good for me. I tried to research who the contact person was, what the genre is, what could be the link with me or my music. And yes, read a little bit, interest yourself in the blog as well. Not just like, oh yeah, this is pop, this is for me. No, just go around it and make sure that it is. Write down suggestions where you think your music or your persona or whatever you want to say about yourself would fit on their blog. Maybe they have different sections. And then when you populate that, you can start over and just go over them and say, okay, I'm going to write an email to this blog or online magazine and sell yourself, like why would they do an article on you?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that's how you send them your press release. That's how you get in touch with them, make it known that you have new music out or that it will come, because this actually has to happen 8 weeks before your release date. Just because they need all that time to write an article about you, to publish it.
Yeah, if it's print, they need at least 3 months.
Oh yeah, if it's print, they need 3 months. Oh, absolutely. If it's an online blog, 8 weeks, 6 weeks is a minimum. I would definitely do 10 or 8 weeks because they have a lot in the pipeline. Most of them don't only do this blog, they have day jobs. So they need to find the time to fit you in if they want to interview you or find out more about you. So stuff like that is really important. So everything just takes a lot of time. So there's blogs, there's online magazines, there's printed magazines, there is playlisting, which I do not recommend that you do yourself. I've tried it. I've done it. It's horrible because also you get you get rejected a lot, or you just don't get any answers, it's really best that you find a good partner to do this with, a marketing agency that is specialized in this and who can guide you. There are a couple of good ones. There are a lot of bad ones, a couple of good ones. Please do reach out to us if you have questions and you can't find them yourself, because I can give you tips. There are radios. You can reach out to the radios yourself. That actually kind of works. I had a lot of radios playlist my music. Local radios, some bigger ones sometimes as well, if you can get
it
in.
is mainly local, but
And
they also, if you've got local radios, they oftentimes feature like new artists.
Yes.
So and local artists. So even like the BBC in England and the UK, they have BBC introducing. Yes,
that's a good one.
And,
if you're in the UK,
yeah, exactly.
definitely.
And you can they do it super regionally. So like for Cambridge, for Cardiff, for surrounding smaller cities, and. In Germany, we also have via the NDR. That's in northern Germany, but in southern Germany as well. I'm sure they also have programs like that. So not as well known, but still they do exist, and I feel like a lot of them have really good. Have a really good chance at actually getting on there.
Yeah. So. And also they all have websites. They all list all the presenters. Well, most of them list the presenters, or at least let you know for music who you need to contact. So you can actually do that one yourself. As your manager and as a man. Yes. And so I've tried it as Dana. I've also tried it as Dana's manager, but a female manager. I've also tried it as Dana's male manager, or have like an ambiguous name that could actually be a male name, like Jay. I use Jay. So Jay could, be
Sam. Could be.
Yeah, exactly. Sam, or stuff like that. So the moment they can think it's a male name, you actually do get more response. Even if it's negative, they actually respond to you. Yeah. So even if it's like, oh yeah, sorry, it's not the right song or but they respond more when they think they're talking to a man.
Why though?
It's not they respond more. You know what it is? You get ignored less. So I have organized my own interviews on radios that way. That they thought they were talking to a manager, they were actually talking to me, and then oh yes, Dana's available then and then, and you just organize the interview and you're just there. So that works. And so that was really cool with the radios. That's nice. And what I do find is that if you continue sending your new music to them, they continue playing your new songs as well, which is very nice.
So that's
nice.
Like before the release, right? And then
all before the release. Well, radios you can wait.
Play after usually.
Yeah, you can wait until maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the release to start hitting them up and asking them to listen to your song to see if they want to playlist it. You can actually also do it when your music is out, but don't wait too long. I would definitely do it in the week that it's released, just so that once they start
that it gets viral.
that they start playing it maximum 2 weeks after its release date or something, because they will play it for X weeks. And you don't want it to be already like 6 weeks or 8 weeks old.
Because you need need the algorithm to pick up on the people coming in, and then it will push it more. But if you need the start, it's like if you have a YouTube video, and I'm still not quite sure if this is 100% accurate, but this is what I heard when I was prepping my music video releases. Is that don't upload it beforehand and then let it sit there.
We've seen that too with the podcast.
Because if you upload it beforehand, from the moment you uploaded, the first 72 hours are the hours that it counts how many views it gets and how much it will push it. So if you're wasting your entire algorithm by uploading it so much sooner.
If you're scheduling it for like release in a week, it's not good. You have to really, They give all these features like, schedule it and stuff.
Exactly,
but you really should
You really
be
don't
like,
want to
okay,
do that.
I want to release it in an hour, so I need to upload it now.
Yeah.
It really is that way. Yeah, that's true. And we tested that with the podcast, didn't we? We put it from private to released, or we also scheduled like what's it called?
A premiere.
A premiere.
Yeah.
And did the premiere. Yeah, we like a long lead time, because obviously you have links and you can send people to the premiere and they can like wait there and stuff. But if you do it 3 or 4 or 5 days beforehand, then well, you can get a lot of buzz for the release and the premiere. People are there.
It depends on how big your following is.
Yes,
but
after that, there's nothing else, because the algorithm is gone. It's over. Yeah,
exactly. So also something that I didn't know when I started, but we figured it out.
The problem is that all these platforms give you all these cool tools and you think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that because that's handy, but they work against their own, they don't tell you that it's counterproductive to not just do it the classical way.
Also marketing. I mean, I learned from you that obviously marketing on Facebook, or now Meta, I guess, Facebook, Instagram, etc., you are, for one thing, it's a horrible interface, but for another
it's
it's migraine inducing, but for another, it's actually best to do test drives of your ads so you can find what people respond to, and then you're not wasting money on something that's not going to work. Right? So you test drive with, where do I actually want to go? What hashtags am I using? Which ones are actually getting engagement? Why maybe are they getting that engagement? And then also, do I want to be there? I hope so, because you chose the hashtag, So you do need to kind of put a lot of thought into it from the beginning. But then you go on that and you don't post parallel ads that are running against each other in the same genre.
Yes.
Because you will be competing against yourself, which is just stupid.
Indepreneur is a good one. I will link them in the show notes. I've done this in another episode as well, I think. Indepreneur has very good podcast episodes, by the way. It's called Creative Juice. So listen to those if you need, information about marketing.
And if you are German, there's also Raketerei, which is really great. They also have a podcast, and they post a lot of things around
great
marketing.
Tips. Yeah, great tips. So Indepreneur, you can do a number of things with them. You can just listen freely to podcasts and stuff like that. You can do paid trainings that you can online trainings that you can do with them, and they renew their trainings all the time with whenever Meta changes something, because their interface changes like every week. It's crazy. So every time something changes, Indepreneur actually researches it and what has changed, and also adds on to their courses, like in a side note, like, watch out because this has changed, and so now this is the effect. So that is great. And I have found that I've done a lot of them, and I found that they have the most up-to-date information, legit, true information, not leading you around the bush and not taking your money for nothing. They also have a service that you can, I don't want to say subscribe to, because they have to vet you. So you can ask them if they want to be your agency, really, your marketing agency, and then their team will help you with all of this. And show you all. They have 2 tiers. They can show you how to do it, or they can do it for you. Obviously, you will learn from that as well. But so that they are really good at this kind of stuff. So that's a really good one. Also, timing with Meta ads is very important. I also wrongly in the beginning thought, I'm going to run this for a day or like 24 hours, and then I'll see the results. You have to do a test of at least a week, because of the learning process of the ads. It takes already 4 to 5 days for it to learn. So it needs another couple of days to actually do its thing that it learned. And if you skip that, then you're looking at results that are not representative. It's based on some kind of learning, and it has been changing because you do not see the algorithm. You don't know when it changed, when it decided to do something different inside that learning period. You know, so you have to, 7 days is a minimum.
Yeah.
10 days is better. And also you need to already put a legit amount of money into that, which can seem thrown away, but it's really not. But yeah, you have to get over that because yeah, it can be like if you're doing if you are researching 5 audiences, you're going to have to put €10 in per audience. So that's already €50 for that week. You know, and if you're doing a little longer, it might have a little more. So sometimes a test can go up to €200 if you want to do it properly, and it's just been a test.
Yeah.
But it's really not thrown away because you really can reap the results afterwards.
If you think about TikTok or Instagram and you swipe through stuff, the algorithm is learning as you're swiping, and it is constantly learning new things about you because it sometimes will show you new things, and then it'll be like, oh, I don't know everything about this person. Oh, I need to know more, right? And that is exactly what they're doing with the app. They're sending it to people and seeing, oh, will they like it or won't they like it? And then when they learn what type of profile person actually likes your video, your ad, they will then be able to more efficiently target those people.
Yes.
And you will get better results. So that's kind of, you know, how it works.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, just think of how you use social media and how sometimes you're mindlessly swiping on TikTok. And, you know, for me, it's horses and cats. And then all of a sudden I get something completely different in there, and I'm like, no, I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
So be mindful of exactly how you yourself use social media, not when you're researching people and stuff, but when you're actually just sitting somewhere where you're bored. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what you need to take into account.
Yeah, and that's what they're adjusting to. So we've got the marketing, we've got...
making the music.
Yes, making the music.
Making
blogs.
the videos also beforehand.
Oh, yes.
That's one of my mistakes.
If you want to make music videos, make them beforehand.
Yeah.
I still have one I haven't released yet of a song that came out a while ago, right? And I will release it, but it's not going to be the same.
I have done in the past. Okay, I'm going to upload it to the distributor and it's going to be released in 8 weeks. And only then you start on the video. It's not going to be finished, even if it's 8 weeks, because in those 8 weeks you should be doing all the radios and the blogs and the online magazines and you writing your press release and your artwork should be ready before you upload. Obviously, otherwise you can't upload. But so that video,
we didn't even touch on artwork.
Well, that's before.
Yeah.
And then you're working with this video and, you know, all of this stuff is happening and it's just, you're all alone. Sometimes you have a day job. Mostly you have a day job as well.
Yeah.
And you're only doing this in the evenings and the weekends and the nights. And it's just, you get burnt out really easily that way because you're spreading yourself way too thin. So have all your creative material for this song or songs already finished before you even start, like, okay, what is the timeline of this planning now?
Yes.
So that you are okay with the creative stuff that you have. Also, if you can, for socials, you know.
So you need artwork, you need the song, obviously. You need, if you want to do the music video, you need reels. You need, like, posts. Behind the scenes. You need posts. You need
pictures, carousels. Carousels do really good on Instagram.
That's
do
true.
not underestimate carousels.
Very well.
Yes.
Also, you need advertisements prepped. Yeah. Right? You need to know exactly which ones you are actually...
The format,
what you're going to do,
what you want to put on them, who you want to target, lyrics.
Oh,
don't underestimate lyrics.
I still haven't done that because it's really hard for me to get into the thing. Yeah, like it's don't underestimate it. See, because there's a platform where you can put your lyrics.
Match.
Yeah, Music Smash.
With Music Smash,
I can't even say it.
Music Smash. You can put your lyrics on your songs on Spotify and on Instagram, Reels and Facebook now as well.
Yeah. Actually, I think it is on
TikTok
one of my songs. I don't know how I managed it, but basically it's you log on and you have to log in through, I think, Apple Music or something.
You can through Spotify as well, but you have to.
And you have to log in and verify yourself, obviously, somehow.
So that's the process, right? Because you think, oh, I'll quickly do that. But it takes you a day if it's the first time that you do it, because you have to figure it out.
And then with my browser, it didn't work.
You see, the browser, you have to figure it out. It is a little, they have gotten better now, because it was very roundabout.
It was so buggy.
Yeah, very buggy. But even I've done it a bunch of times now, and even every time I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into this now and do this, and I've blocked half an hour for it. No, it'll take you 2 hours. Okay?
No, because you actually also have to put the words to the bits in the music, and that's the bit I haven't done yet.
The syncing of it.
Yes, the syncing.
Yes.
So you want to be able to, when Instagram and also Spotify shows you, oh, you're here in the song, this is where you are, and not just showing the lyrics, and like progressively doing one
like
word
the
after
karaoke
the other.
style
Exactly,
following.
and that's the thing that you can do through that, but it's actually, you have to sit there and do that, and it takes like half an hour per song. It just,
And a lot of distributors say, oh, put your lyrics here and we'll upload to Apple and Spotify, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, and they also probably won't sync it. So
they don't sync it. In any case, they won't sync it. So your lyrics might be on there, but it's not scrolling with. And nowadays, if you're using a reel and you want your lyrics on it, a lot of people like to use that, and then your lyrics are scrolling on the page. You have to do the syncing if you want that. And the thing is, my distributor says indeed, like, put your lyrics here, but it hasn't worked yet. So I've had to go into Music Match when it's released, when the day is there anyway. And also then it takes them 3 days to actually like distribute it to everybody until it actually comes on Instagram Music, and you can scroll through the lyrics and everything like that. So it has to it's release day.
It also takes a while to get on
and
Instagram
then 3
and stuff
days after,
sometimes.
it does take a while.
Or TikTok took a couple of days for me last time.
Yeah.
So, and then also on TikTok, I feel like for me, it was only one part of my song and not the entire song. So sometimes you have to specify somewhere what part of your song you want to be on there.
Yeah, you couldn't do that before, so it always started at the beginning.
No, you couldn't do that.
Well, labels could do that. I mean, like major labels did that. But
and they'd also get like 1 minute snippets or the entire song on there. But for us, it's like 15 seconds.
And it was the first 15 seconds, like your intro.
Exactly. And you're like, well, unless you have a really great intro, which, some songs do. But so it's there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to plan, a lot of stuff to think about. You really need lists. You need to be organized. You need to kind of
lists.
Oh God, without
and just
lists.
Time. Don't underestimate. Don't be too hard on yourself, because that's what we usually do. We're very hard on ourselves. And like I said, I plan for I'm going to do this in half an hour, and then 2 hours later you're like, oh my God, I have so many other things that I wanted to do, and it's not. So even if you just do 1 or 2 things a day, it's a good day. You've done them. Next day, more. Exactly. Don't be too hard on yourself, because that can really burn you out and make you very angry with yourself.
Another episode we have coming soon. Creative burnout.
Creative burnout. Stay tuned.
Yes. So
in this season.
Yes, in this season. Another thing I wanted to say, just kind of a final, you are going to, especially if it's your first release, you're going to be like, all your friends and family are going to get blasted with your music, because you're going to send it out to everybody and you like pull them all in. And I think for the first release, yes, definitely do it. Like pull in everybody, let them know you're doing it, and just, send it out to everywhere you can. But I feel like after the first release, the novelty wears off, so the interest wanes in a lot of people. Not obviously your closest people and the people who have expressed, oh my God, that's so amazing. Definitely let me know when you do the next one. But in a lot of people, and I've found that I really don't want to be spamming people with my stuff, where I know it's not going to get a response anyway, so why waste the time, right? So I feel like the first release is completely pull in friends and family. You'll get a lot of support. But I feel like after that, it wanes.
The thing with friends
Yeah.
and family is that they're doing it for you.
Yeah.
They're not specifically doing it because they like the songs
Yeah.
or the genre.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably very proud of you and they're like, oh, you did a great job. Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But it might not be the genre that they listen to. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
You're making lyrical pop. They might listen to heavy metal.
Yeah.
You don't
a lot
know.
of them do.
There you go. So
Yeah.
they won't be listening, or they might listen to it like in between their heavy metal, like, oh, let's put Micah's song on, just like for a stream, to support her. But that doesn't help the algorithm because it gives
Precisely.
weird signals, and also like subscribing a bunch of your, every time you like, oh, and I have a newsletter, because start a newsletter, get people's emails, have their emails, own their emails. If tomorrow Facebook disappears, all your fans are gone there, okay? Remember...
At gigs, put out an email list. Tell them...
What's the place? MySpace. Remember MySpace? Yes. People had fan bases there, but it disappeared, and then you don't have anything.
True.
So the fan base that you make on the socials is a basis to get them onto your personal newsletter.
Yes.
So you own their emails, and you can actually reach out to them after Facebook or Instagram or whatever disappears or changes, or they've moved to Snapchat, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a very important one. And the thing is that I found in the beginning, you're doing all these things and your friends and family are following you and they're subscribing to this, but afterwards, they're not really interested.
Yeah. And I mean,
so they don't open
blame
it.
them. No. But they also kind of it makes your statistics worse. Right?
Yeah, they're messing up your algorithm basically by not opening it or
not clicking or not participating. Yeah. Yes. So basically, just don't.
Don't subscribe your friends and family to your newsletter because they want to support you.
Exactly.
Because it's bad for your newsletter figures.
Yeah. Also
or popularity, because I don't know if people know this. Gmail and other like Hotmail and other services, email services, also keep tabs on popularity of newsletters.
Oh,
so if a lot of people don't open your newsletter, then you get bad ratings within that service, can I say?
Right.
I don't know, provider. I don't know how to call them. Mail provider. And if a lot of people also say, hey, I don't even want this newsletter, I'm going to put it in my spam, then also that makes your score go down, and then Gmail or Hotmail starts putting you in spam folders a lot more.
Yeah.
So then you have to get yourself back out of it, and you can avoid this by having a very healthy and clean emailing list. So don't be afraid to ask people, don't be afraid of unsubscribers, basically.
Yeah.
If people unsubscribe, okay, it's sad that they're not interested anymore, but good riddance, because if they stay on and they don't click or don't open and they move you to spam or just delete without opening, it gives you a bad health of your mailing list.
A good rule in the beginning is that every time you send something out or you post something, even Instagram, etc., is you lose some, you win some.
Yes.
Right? So, because you're reminding people that you exist. And sometimes they will be like, oh, okay, I subscribed to that like a year ago and I'm actually not that interested anymore. So they unsubscribe. So it's not like, oh, I signed up to this and I actually didn't want to.
No.
Most of the time with us, that's not it at all. It's just, I didn't remember I was still following this person, and actually...
Your own use too. I subscribe to newsletters where I'm like, oh, after a while, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I'm not really interested anymore, so I'm going to unsubscribe. It doesn't mean I hate that artist or, stuff like that, or that the music is so bad. That's not it. It's just your life changes, your interests shift, even in a very short time span, and let them go mentally. Let them go. Yeah. And it's better to have less people who are more interested than you than a lot of people who are not so interested. Yeah. So
It's
that's,
also, you need to, with a newsletter, I think, give them options of what do they want to actually hear, and then they're more likely to stay. Because if you keep spamming them with stuff that they didn't sign up for, as in, if you just have one general newsletter that is like all the time, all the different things, and they actually just want to know about gigs and not about
That's
other
possible,
things.
yeah.
It's good to have like a rider that's just for gigs, and you just send out for people who just want to know when you're doing a gig, and then you don't lose them. You just have them for what they want to be heard for, so
that's actually, I haven't done that yet. I might, send out a newsletter and say, okay, you can ask them, you can make surveys in these newsletter things like MailChimp and stuff, and ask them, okay, what are you really interested in knowing about me? But what you can also do is, that's also what Entrepreneur talks about, like nurture newsletters. So they're signing up to your newsletter because they want to know more about you.
Yeah.
Tell them more about you. Don't just do nothing and then wait 6 months until your next release is out and then send. And they're like, oh, who is this? They forgot you. They forgot they signed up because you're not sending regularly. So what you do is you can actually make journeys or sequences. So once they sign up, you can say, thank you for signing up, For me, I give them access to a secret webpage that I have that nobody else can find otherwise. So this is a perk that's free that I made for my fans specifically. And I'm like, okay, you can go to this secret webpage and find out more about a couple of songs. Then I send them an email a couple of days after, which is like, okay, this is more about me because you've signed up now. So there's more about me. I also ask them to answer me because I want to know more about them.
Yeah.
So this is where I get to know individual people that I see following me on the socials for a long time. They finally made the step to go to my newsletter and become part of the warrior tribe, as I call them. And then, that's because they're interested. They want to know about you. And I also want to know who they are and why they're interested in me. So I ask them to answer me, and they do. And it's really fun.
I feel like on a newsletter you probably get a lot more responses than you would maybe on social media, because social media, it might be easier on social media to tap a button, but
it is.
On a newsletter you have a more personal connection, I feel, because you signed up for it. You're like, obviously on Instagram you also followed that person, but I feel it's less of a commitment.
It is
like
less
that person has your email address. That's I feel like that's a big thing. So,
I think also that's the commitment that you have to make as the owner of such a mailing list. If it's like a store or online shop, obviously, if you're selling t-shirts or cups or whatever, that's a different relationship that you have with customers. They're really customers. Yes, in the music, they're also customers because you're selling yourself and your music and your vibe, but it's so much more personal. Also because music nowadays is supposed to be free. Well, not supposed to be, but people think it should be free because it is. Now there is Spotify, but between buying an album and the DSPs that exist now was this whole downloading MP3s for free somewhere, like stealing them, basically, the period that we went through. So since MP3s exist, people just don't really think about how much money and effort it takes to make a song. It's supposed to be free. So regard your music as your marketing. What are you marketing? Well, not your music, because that's the tool to market your community or your message or your image or, the great feeling that you want to give them when they're at your show, or, that's the product is you, and the music is the marketing that you're going to put in front of them literally for free, even though you paid a lot of money to make it. That's what we're living in right now. That's the new industry. So we have to accept it and just go with that, even though it's a pain in the ass and it's not,
well, it makes it very hard for
ideal.
people to actually make a living
Yes,
off of music.
off of the music
Yes.
itself. Yeah.
So it also generates a lot of people who are more have an imposter syndrome because they're like, oh, I can't live off of this, so I must be doing something wrong and I am not good enough. And so, you know, it just kind of perpetuates a lot of things that the music industry really doesn't need any more of.
True.
But yeah, it is the music nowadays, it's free and everybody's like, oh, how much are you making off of it? Diddly squat. Really, nearly nothing.
It's really not for the money. Everybody's
no.
like, oh my God, you want to be a star and then make
like,
so much
oh my
money.
God, you want to be a
No.
pop star? Yeah.
No. Even big, huge names are not making a lot of money.
Well, especially not off of streaming. So, like, off of their music, obviously the shows, and I think merchandise a lot now.
The shows, merchandise, or like
Also,
collaborations, like them being in ads.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, literally just the song, not so much. I think you'd be surprised.
You get paid for songwriting.
Yes,
Like,
songwriting.
You can, obviously, on the back end well, it depends where you go.
Depends.
But yes, you can. There is the potential there to make money, have a relatively steady job doing songwriting.
Yeah.
But again, that's a different route to be taking. If you are an artist and you want to be an artist on stage, then that is an avenue you can go, but it will never be your primary focus.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing is time again.
Yeah.
You're all alone. And so writing songs for yourself, writing songs for others, connecting then with labels because you might want to like be a writer on a label to write for other people. If you're all alone and as an independent artist, again, network, because who do you give your songs to that you didn't write for yourself, that you're not going to use yourself? Who is going to listen to them? You need that network in the industry to say, okay, yes, I'm a songwriter also. Here are 20 songs that I've written that I think are good.
Yeah.
And that, you know, do you have an artist that's looking for a song about, I don't know, Christmas?
Yeah.
That was it, basically, I think, for how to prep your release, how to plan your release. Is basically, well...
And also the emotional roller coaster that goes along with it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So a lot is the marketing and a lot is just not taking things for granted. Like your name on Instagram doesn't have to just be your name. You can already put artists in some kind of genre there. Look at mine, you know. I have Dana Rex and then there's already behind that I'm doing dark power pop. So that's real estate that's there that you can use. It doesn't have to only be like your name. On Spotify, please do a bio. Please claim your profile. Stuff like that. You know, put some pictures up there. Put a bio on it. If people are interested in a song,
page.
If people are, look at it this way. If you're interested in an artist, you find this artist, you love this song, you're like, oh my God, this is a great song. The first thing you do is you want to find out more about this artist and listen to more music. And if you do not find a website, you don't find a bio even on Spotify, it might be their first release, but there's like no information whatsoever. You're quickly disinterested. As good as a song can be, you know, if you're
not going to remember.
Yeah, you're not going to remember. You want to find out about these people. So give them material to binge. Once they find you and they want to binge you, just have material. Don't do the one post on Instagram. Post about yourself. Even if nobody's watching now, in 5 years, maybe somebody wants to binge all of it. You know? So just, get out there.
Create.
Come on, you can do it. All right, so that's all for today, and thank you for tuning into Unboxing Women. If you've ever had an experience that you want to share with us, send us a DM or tag us in your post with the hashtag suchabitch, or send us an email on suchabitch@unboxingwomen.com. Don't forget to drop us a like on Instagram or wherever you're listening to us, and we'll see you soon for the next episode.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.